Last night, we finally got our first win in over 1 month of Premier League football against Wolves at home. And today, my friends, I'm here to discuss the 5 key things we learned in last night's win. So I hope you guys enjoy the video, sit back, relax, and let's relive what went right for us in our solid display. For the first thing we learned, we saw our captain's influence last night. Reece James, boy have we missed this guy. Anytime the fan base has any doubts over his long-term future due to injuries, he comes back and he instantly reminds us why he's one of our best players, and for myself, probably the best right back we've seen and the best fullback we've seen in our recent modern era at our football club. I'm really keeping it that real. For me, he's like that fusion of like an Ivanovic, Azpilicueta, whilst also adding his own unique attacking qualities and flair. He's a very unique player, Reece James, and as I've been saying for a very long time, you only sell this guy when you believe he is going down another level. If Reece James is on the market right now, don't lie to yourself and think he's going to Brighton or Crystal Palace or an Everton or something. But anyway, last night, Reece James won 6 out of 8 ground duels, 3 out of 4 aerials, 2 key passes, 2 dribbles completed, 100% completion rate, 1 last man tackle, 3 tackles whilst having 92 touches with a pass completion rate of 90%. The guy oozes world-class ability. And on that right side, Maresca's defensive setup, Reece James is ahead of Wesley Fofana, Malo Gusto, and anyone who's an option down that right side. Last night, Reece was the definition of composure, and he always adds that really reliable and really strong press resistance for our build-up play. He was bullying Cunha off the ball, especially in these transitional counter-attacking moments, and he stopped many counter-attacks by aggressively defending proactively, leaving his lines to engage in Wolves' half to stop the counter-attacks forming, so but not punish down the width. He combined really well alongside Noni Madueke, and I'm really hoping that Reece James can maintain his fitness for the second half of this season, because this guy is adding a different class and a different level to the team when he's consistently available. And for me, that opening goal, the small moments, the small details, it typifies Reece James, based on the fact that when the ball was coming his way, he's the only one in the squad who has the temperament and technique to be able to get his laces over the ball to hit it hard and low. We know that's his trademark type of strike of the ball, and that kind of forced the luck we needed for it to land to Tosin's path, and the rest was history. I think the thing I loved about Reece James' performance was how he left the field. Bro, he's leading like a real captain. He's really growing into this role, very vocal. Encouraging his teammates, encouraging his guys on the field. Look how he celebrated afterwards as well too. I mean, listen, there's a reason why all of us love Reece James, and fingers crossed, please, you gave this guy all this ability. You didn't do that for no reason. Please protect his body now and let this guy play some football. And moving on to the second thing we learned, respect Trevoh Chalobah. I hope you're listening to this, Chelsea directors. I mean, obviously they're doing better things like finding our 5th choice winger now that we can sign before the window ends. But regardless, Chalobah, what a hero's return for Trev. The reception he got from the home fans was absolutely unreal. It was great to see. And listen, the game's about results and trophies, blah, blah, blah. But we can't dismiss the human side, the human connection. We love to see a homegrown star playing for the badge in the stadium. I mean, it really is that simple. There's nothing wrong with that. And yesterday, Trevoh Chalobah absolutely dominated on his return back. And for all those suggestions in the summer that he would struggle to do anything in this system under Maresca with all this quality and competition ahead of him, he made everyone look like a fool last night, because alongside a great defensive performance, you can confidently say he was our best defender. And the stats show that. 97 touches off the board, 96% pass completion rate, 2 key passes made, 2 out of 3 long balls completed, 2 big opportunities made. Chalobah demonstrated his qualities defending in our books when, in particular, he made some brilliant interceptions, especially defensively with his head. And in the opposition's books, look at the threat he's adding attacking set pieces. He was very unfortunate that Noni Madueke cheekily stole a goal that was destined to go in the back of the net from Trevoh Chalobah attacking the ball. And this season already, he scored 3 goals from set pieces for Crystal Palace. The guy's 6'3", he's fast, he's extremely versatile across many different defense positions. For me, this is an absolute no-brainer, but you keep this type of quality that costs you nothing, that you produce for free within this squad. That's what you do. You don't sell the squad guys for easy profit to then replace them with other squad players who aren't necessarily even better than what you have, all in the pursuit of just like financial gain, especially when all the profit we're making isn't going into funding like your awesome hen or your next great player. But the fact that Chalobah could seamlessly slot into things, play on that left hand side and play with confidence, show what he can offer to the team. Maresca would have been very happy. You could see how Maresca embraced him afterwards. Listen, I can probably imagine that Maresca had no choice in accepting that certain players at club said, listen, they won't be here anymore. He had to accept their fates, but luck has a fortune of falling in Trevoh Chalobah's way. This club's been trying to force him out and ostracize him for a very long time. They nearly had their way in the summer, but he's back now, and with performances like this, I think it'd be incredibly hard for these directors now to find a reason to sell him and move him on if he maintains this level of ability. I think this guy's going to be a big plus for us against Man City next week, especially when we saw him demonstrating some really incredible last man counter-attacking tackles against Wolves. I mean, the guy's Jehovah's son for a reason, and yeah, may the blessings continue to fall in Chalobah's way. You can see the reaction from his teammates. Everyone loves him, everyone wants him back, and this is another type of leader that this squad needs behind the scenes. Now we talk Robert Sanchez, a game of 2 halves. Immediately, I want to show you guys the clip of the mistake that he made in the game. Now, all of us know that he should have punched the ball. I'll give credit to Wolves for aggressively throwing men near the near post. Not many teams have attempted that, but when they have done that, Sanchez has reliably been claiming these crosses left, right and center for fun throughout this whole season. But I think one of the reasons why he struggled to claim this one, and I don't blame him for having confidence when he's one of the best in the league at doing that, is that look at the arm in the air from Breno. Personally, is that not a foul? Is that not a foul? I mean, his arm's up in the air. How is that a fair challenge? That arm block from Breno clearly prevented Sanchez from claiming that ball then. That's my take on things. I'm not expecting everyone to agree with me, but I feel like Robert Sanchez has done a lot more good than he has bad. And I kind of agree with the sentiment made by Enzo Maresca. Yes, 4 individual mistakes have been made. Most of them have come from penalties being conceded, but a lot of times players ahead of him have made the mistakes to create those situations he's faced. But outside of all of that, he's offered a lot more goods compared to bads. And I don't want to discredit him because I accept the reality of our situation. I get what the fan base says. Nini, how are we going to win anything when you have a goalkeeper like this between the posts? I hear you, but let's see the bigger picture. How are we going to win anything if we don't have top class quality in certain positions in this team? If we got the best keeper in the world overnight before this window ends, is that automatically going to rise us up the table? Are we going to be title challengers? Are we going to easily secure Champions League football? No. And the reason why I give Robert Sanchez patience now and grace is because he reacts. When he makes a mistake in games and the home fans are on him and they've lost their confidence in him, weaker goalkeepers like I've seen in a Kepa, for example, you can't mentally overcome that. And you end up being your worst enemy in the end. But with Robert Sanchez, he shows really strong mental resilience. He's improved a lot over the course of 1 year. And it's a reminder that there's still more to come from this guy. But he's also been a reliable figure between the posts for us. And I think realistically, what we can hope for now is that Robert Sanchez can continue to fine-tune his concentration more, and Jorgensen continues to push him even harder now to try and fight for that number 1 spot, because realistically, we're not signing any big keepers for big wages. I think that's communicated quite clearly now by our directors. But the 4th thing we learned, Neto is not in sync down that left-hand side. Now, I've been comparing himself with Noni throughout the season because I feel like I'm seeing more output from Noni. But that doesn't mean that I discredit the quality that I know Neto does have. And if I was to be honest with you guys, I think both of them kind of suffer from the fact that for all their excellent crosses inside the box, there is no real aerial presence that can really take advantage of the incredible delivery we've seen throughout this season. But I want to talk about Neto not being in sync down the left sides. I've been thinking about the game afterwards, and does that explain why we've seen a reluctance recently for Maresca to play Neto down the left, where Neto was starting down the left-hand side when he first came here? And I think one of the reasons why I'm saying this is that I kept seeing Neto down that left-hand side always looking to take the ball inside. And he was throwing Cucurella off, and we were losing the ball a lot of times down the left, allowing some of the rare counter-attacks to come from Wolves. Now, the difference you can see when Sancho came on for the final 30 minutes was night and day, because when Cucurella is inside, Sancho knows to stay outside, and vice versa. That demonstrates a good understanding of each other's game, rhythm, movements, whereas Neto was overcomplicating things because he wants to play a bit closer to goal. If he's on that right-hand side, he's allowed that license to go towards goal a bit more. But down the left, he wasn't really offering that at times, and it meant that our play was getting stifled quite a bit. And the team was more willing to play down the right-hand side, where Noni had a great game alongside Reece James. This probably explains the willingness to sign a left winger before this window ends, to have someone that can offer a bit more box penetration down that left side. It does make a bit of sense, but I still think that Neto just needs a bit more time, and his signs really look like he'll need one season now to acclimatise with his teammates before he really demonstrates and shows what he can bring and what he can do. But in the meantime, if I ever see him playing down the left-hand side again, that's if he's offering a counter-attacking threat like he was showing whilst at Wolves last season, but he also played a ton of games down the right-hand side for them. I think for our squad, it's nice and handy to have a player who's multi-purpose down both flanks, but it still feels like we have to wait for the best of what Neto can bring right now. And I've seen enough in this guy to have a little bit of patience in him and wait for his form to come back. And for the final thing we learned, the defenders shined last night. Goals from Tosin, goals from Cucurella. At the moment, we're seeing our defenders scoring more goals than our attacking players. Obviously, that clearly needs to change, but I want to give credit to Cucurella because in his 100th Premier League appearance, he scored yet again another goal with his head inside the box, and it's really starting to feel like maybe Cucurella could be teaching Nico Jackson a thing or two, even though I'm sounding a little bit cynical because you could argue that Nico occupying the defender free up the space for Dewsbury Hall and Cucurella. But it's nice that Cucu is bringing these clutch moments in the team. For big teams, when your attacking players aren't predominantly getting the goals and assists, where do the clutch goals come from? Like, we used to have that back in the day from like your Ivanovic's, your Matic's at times, even N'Golo Kante's, David Luiz's, etc, etc. But if anything, it demonstrates the fact that Cucurella really understands how to play in multiple positions on the field. But food for thought for you guys, equally at the same time, would we not benefit from having a more traditional offensive player making these underlapping runs, making these box entries at times? I'll let you guys comment that below. And obviously, to end things with Tosin, yet again, another great goal. I love how he took the ball out his feet under pressure and has the composure to convert that away from goal. Some of the goals he's scoring recently, they would put most strikers to shame. And if anything, it really communicates the confidence I think Tosin is now feeling in his game. And you're seeing that with more ambitious things he's doing. Against Wolves, he one-on-one, long stridey run, you know, from deep, under pressure, steamrolled everyone, and then played a pass between the lines. I mean, those line-breaking passes he's playing for fun right now, releasing Cole Palmer, playing these passes through Wolves' midfield, they were great to see, and he's demonstrating his ability to play balls over the top, to connect the wingers, and of course create a different avenue to break teams down with. I really feel like maybe he's showing his best form for us over the last month, and it's good to see because he's quite clearly well liked in the squad. He introduces some experience. He has that aerial height and ability that is much needed. For myself, I want to see him continue this form. I mean, you guys know the reservations I had. I didn't think he was a bad player, but I always thought to myself, if you have Chalobah, there's just no need for a move like this. But equally, now that he is currently taking advantage of the opportunity here, is he starting to prove his quality and worth at our football club. Today, my friends, there were the 5 things we learned in last night's 3-1 win I hope you guys enjoy. Hit that like button. Don't forget to catch all my latest uploads as well too. And comment below, what was one thing you learned in last night's win? See you guys all soon.